Together with me of organizing this fabulous event and very important one is the Ladies of All Nations International UK, founded by our very own Dr. Caroline Makaka. Dr. Caroline, please say hi to everyone.
Hi, hello everyone. Nice to meet you.
So that's Dr. Caroline taking care of the technicalities at the back, in the backstage, while we are all doing all our speeches. Now, before we'll start, Ladies of All Nations International is a nonprofit organization brought to life by innovative partnerships between women of all backgrounds and cultures who have a shared vision of driving better change in today's global communities. Loani operates worldwide, chiefly to bring nations together under the umbrella of humanity, with the ultimate goal being to support and uplift the underprivileged in various communities and celebrate survivors as heroines and empowering them to move out of the positions of victims. While Prodigy Bureau Global Women Speakers is founded by me, and it is a group of trailblazers, change makers, and shakers, we will be all uniting together, having the Global Women Empowerment Summit every year in every country. So next year, we will be hopefully visiting the Philippines after Dubai this year, and we will all be having you all, hopefully, and 2022 will be in Bhutan. Global Women Empowerment Summit will be a group of women who will empower and inspire other women in every country. We believe and we realize that all women cannot come to other countries just to attend our event. Especially Dubai is very expensive, so we will go to their places and we will visit their countries to empower them. Are you all with me for that?
Absolutely.
All right, without further ado, I would like to introduce to you our very beautiful hosts, straight from South Africa. Our host is a marketing executive at FAMRAM Solutions. She is the director of the FAMRAM Foundations. A very young entrepreneur, very promising host, and young speaker of Prodigy Bureau, and awardee of the Women Economic Forum 2018, Young Leaders Creating a Better World for All. Ladies and gentlemen, straight from Johannesburg, please welcome Daksha Ramjowan.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daksha Ramjowan, and today I will be your host. I cannot contain my excitement as we have 7 wonderful ladies joining us today. These powerhouse women have an array of experience and knowledge. So without taking too much of your time, we will jump right into it. Introducing our first speaker, she is an entrepreneur, a member of the Philippine Federation of Business and Professional Women. She is the first Asian woman to become an international director at Toastmasters International. She is a leadership and planning trainer, a lecturer, and a speaker. Having a double degree in Bachelor of Science in Business Administration and Bachelor of Arts in History. Plus, she holds a Master's in Business. Welcome, Christine Timberlake.
Greetings, good day, and good evening to everyone who's joining us tonight. I'm Christine Temblique from the Philippines, and I have been an entrepreneur for the past 30 years. Our business is retail construction and shop fitter for global companies, especially catering to global cosmetic brands and lifestyle products. We have actually evolved from manufacturing of household and promotional display for companies to what we are now, and this is to adapt to the demands of time. Currently, we construct and shop fit for cosmetic brands such as Estée Lauder, Clinique, Benefit San Francisco, Shiseido, Laura Mercier, and many others. We also cater to products like Levi's, Adidas, and even liquor displays at duty-free shops. So I think you will see in my background some of the products and projects that we have undertaken. We make sure that we have enough list of clientele because, as they say, do not put all your eggs in one basket. And marketing strategy. From a domestic supplier to an international provider, continually poses challenges in our business. Getting internationally accredited required us to raise the level of expectations from our staff, from our workers, uplift our office standards, production processes, and many others. However, because we have set our vision to be an utmost provider of projects and products, our tasks and standards required have become a constant. On the social side, I have involved myself in other activities like Chamber of Commerce and non-government organizations like Rotary, Seroptomies, and Toastmasters International as well. My mainstay is at Toastmasters, where I have been a member for the past 29 years. I would say that I have grown from being a club president to a district governor for Philippines and an international director at Toastmasters International for 2 terms. Leading our district in the Philippines and sitting at the board of directors have definitely made my leap in leadership fulfilling. Growing in Toastmasters have actually gifted me with valuable people, opportune moments, and personal successes. Today, we are all in an abnormal time, and all of us have to deal with our personal challenges in terms of safety, business concerns, and social needs as well. But we have to move on despite what's happening now. I, for one, enjoy traveling a lot, but this has actually restricted me. But I think we have to adapt for our safety and the safety of others. Still, I plan and dream with my travel buddies, places to go so that we can resume activities immediately after this is over. Positive thinking, as they say. In business, projects have slowed down and at one time have come to a stoppage. I have hundreds of workers dependent upon us, and our company has to provide for them within our own means. We have to learn how to improvise and innovate in our products and our operations during this transition time. It is difficult, but we have to keep on thinking, moving, and uplifting our hopes. During this pandemic, we also have to learn to innovate. In our business, we have gone into designing now special furnitures and even decor pieces made of different materials. As Conor McGregor said, we always have to improvise, adapt, and overcome. I'm thankful to Toastmasters since it has continued to provide me with activities to busy myself with. I involve myself in training, in district meetings, and even accept committee works from Toastmasters International. Though in-person meetings are prohibited now, still we have now the online platforms, which has provided us opportunity, and me especially, to meet people like you, and also to widen our facets of growth. To everyone, let us continue to enhance our capability to seize all the opportunities facing us. The unending possibilities do not choose time nor place because our world now is borderless. And this is how we're gathering now, which shows that we are doing it in different time. And I wish everybody that we will get over and surpass this trying time. Good evening and good day to everyone.
Thank you, Christine. So, I think we have a few questions for you.
Sure.
Well, we'll go with one question. Being the first Asian woman in Toastmasters, please tell our audience, how did that come about? How did you involve yourself in Toastmasters?
Actually, my involvement and my membership in Toastmasters has been serendipitous in a way. but I have come to develop and discover that it is something that can equip myself with continuous development. And so when I entered the path of leadership, I thought I would just stay within our country leadership, within our district leadership in the Philippines. But then I was prodded and I was persuaded to go into the international level. And I think it has been a challenge, but it has been a fulfilling challenge because I was able to broaden my experience of leadership with other countries and to make myself globally related to everyone whom I meet and sit at the board of directors. And it has been an ending, fulfilling time for me since.
Thank you, Christine. Moving on to our next speaker. She is a Prosky change management practitioner, a college director at Raffles College, Indonesia, seasoned trainer on strategic planning and corporate restructuring. She is a past district director of Toastmasters International, Indonesia, a public speaker and a trainer. Ivy Liu, we welcome you onto our platform.
Thank you so much. Good day to everyone. Yeah, my name is Ivy, as been introduced. I'm a Malaysian and has been residing in Jakarta since 2018. I come from a city of cat, so we call it Kuching, back in Malaysia, and was headhunted by the employment agency back in 2017 to take up this role here in Jakarta. My career journey started as a very small role of an account clerk in an advertising firm, which I later on moved into banking, HR consulting, and have been stayed in more than 15 years in higher education. When I first joined my first college, Inti College, I was hired basically to take care of the loan. And at that time, I was already 5 months pregnant. And for most of us, we will know that a lot of agency or companies will not hire anyone, especially ladies who are already into 5 months pregnancy, basically living 4 months into active work, before you get into maternity. So I'm really blessed at that time, Mr. William Tan, who actually really looked into the skill and hired me for the position. And because I have committed myself in restructuring the loan department within the 4 months, and after I came back from my maternity, they have given me an opportunity to lead a postgraduate program. However, I left the role after 5 years because I wanted to focus a bit more in my children upbringing. I think juggling between career and family at that time with a young children was a bit challenging. But I somehow feel that, spending time with family at that time is critical. And 2 years after that, I have an opportunity that knocks as a Inti College Chief Executive or the principal role. Mr. Avid Shivvat have given me the opportunity to lead the college, and leading college to me has been more than 10 years now. During the 2 years, I took up part-time lecturing and actively involving in honing my leadership skill through Toastmaster. After 3 years in Inti, we undergo into the process of disposal and acquisition. And it's really an eye-opener for me, and I learned a great deal with regards to business acumen. I have stayed with the new party to ensure a smooth transition of the organization we pass on to. And before I joined another college called Segi College in Sarawak. Personally, I see education industry as a very noble career. I don't come from a very rich family. Therefore, if I want to make a difference, I thought education industry would definitely be something good to be in. I see it as we can make a difference in another's life through education, creating an impact and change an individual. Seeing average or poor performing academic students stepping up to the graduation stage are always fulfilling. And it's really heartwarming to see their families gathering around, congratulating them during their graduation day. Higher education sector is experiencing change at an accelerating rate, especially current pandemic time. With an environment of constant change and disruption, create opportunity for institutions to differentiate ourselves in a crowded market. And it also create a growing area of risk that we quickly derail from our strategy. Back in 2018, when I first came to Jakarta, 7 months later, I nearly lost my left eyesight due to retina detachment. With only team members and family, with no family members around me, is really a scary experience. Thinking of how I could lead at a college, yeah, and I've only 7 months into the job. I'm not too sure how I'm gonna make through my journey. And I was thinking at that time, really, I thought I was really going blind because the doctor was telling me that, you know, the percentage to have 100% recovery is only 20%. Until today, I'm still not 100% recovered, but I move on, yeah, because I acknowledge that it is not the handicap that will keep me from moving. I'm fortunate to have good leaders, board directors who are really supportive and encouraging during my tenure here. Mr. William Tan, Mr. Gary Tan has always been my mentor during this journey. Although I have gone through 2 surgeries, as I mentioned, yeah, the first year college performance, which I was very scared that, you know, the performance will not be great because I was really bedridden for 1.5 months, literally. Yeah, but it was a remarkable performance where it also extended my 2 years contract into a 3 years term. That makes it a total 5 years. For me, the challenge would be reuniting the team that range from baby boomers to millennials. If you look at me, I'm not that young and I'm so not that old. But bearing in mind, I have a team which are really baby boomer who are professors, yeah, at the age going into 60s. And you also have a team that are 20s that you have to lead. And I think the Toastmaster skills that I gained through the journey in Toastmaster have really helped me in my leadership, especially in managing this college. And change indeed requires a lot of communication and a lot of listening part of it. And it is always people, and it is always people that makes things happen. I like to acknowledge also the support that I gain, not only through our mentors, but also our family members. I think without, especially my husband, without him, I may not make it this far. Yeah. I like to leave all of us with something I call, and which I use very dearly, that is a leadership scarf. If you notice, I'm wearing a scarf now. Yeah. So the scarf, basically the first is S, that is selflessness. I think it is not about ourselves, and whether or not it is in the college or is it in Toastmaster, it's really not about you or about me. Yeah, it is very much about the people and the team that you are having, and it's not about how much I know, it's about how much the team knows. So I think the selflessness component are really critical. And I remember the time when I know that I'm losing my eyesight, I still go into the office. I still make sure that things are arranged properly and making sure that, you know, everybody know what they are doing. Yeah, they only knew in the evening that I've actually went into hospital and have to get into surgery. The second part of SCARF is C, letter C, that is communicate and connect. To check with the team on how much they understand our message and vision. I think connecting is the key, because we can't just communicate because it's going to be a one way and we are not too sure how they're receptive with it. Coming from Malaysia to Indonesia is a challenge because the culture is different. And at the same time, I think the key success will always be checking how our team recepting the ideas. The character is attitude. And I think attitude is all depending on how you see things. And I think energy are really important. And if you have the positive energy, things will work better. Personally, for me, I always look at quotes. The one favorite person that I always follow definitely is Oprah Winfrey. And I still follows her track until today. The fourth letter is R, that is resilient. You know, we need to be quickly enough to find solution, to anticipate that is not the end. Yeah, to quickly make up and come up with a solution, to be strong, yeah, and not to give up. I could have left my job here in Jakarta after I got with my eyes problem, and I could have just left, but I actually chose not to, because I believe and acknowledge the challenge and still continue to move on. The final one is have faith. I think no matter what we do, we really need to have faith, believe in ourselves, walk the talk, taking action together with the team. Leadership does not have to be about money or profits. It is about making a difference in someone's life. And to me, education, higher education has given me that opportunity to do so. Let us see the scarf as a beautiful element and bond the respect and trust among our partners and our team. I certainly wish every one of us to continue this journey of sisterhood and sharing of the success each other, providing support to each other to grow. And I truly believe at the end of the day, it is about the person that we want to help, the sincerity that we have, and to serve with the heart. At the end of the day, we are all the same. Don't look at ladies in leadership as a glass ceiling, and people will think that you cannot climb up. Ivy, when I first started my job, they said, Ivy, you will stuck here in banking for the rest of your life. And I was telling, definitely is a no. Yeah, as long as you have a will, you will find a way to get there. I wish everyone all the best in the journey, and looking forward to getting in touch with each one of us to create an impact for the community and to each one of us in the journey, sisterhood journey. Back to you, Dakash. Thank you.
Ivy. So, you know, I 100% believe in education, 100%. Education is definitely the key. So I want to know, you started in advertising and then you went into banking, and now being a college director. Did you always have a passion for education? Tell us more about that.
Tell you honestly, no. I have my passion. In fact, my dream is to be a psychologist. I get none of them, but I get into accounting because I have no choice. Then I was in banking, and I was still looking at, you know, how can I serve better? I want to give back to the community that time when I was during my youth, early youth. And I was like, oh, I have an opportunity to get into education. And I thought education is something great because you actually also consult, you also listen, you play a role of, what do we call that? Pastoral care. Yeah, we provide the pastoral care for every of the students that we have. So if you say that, was it my dream to be in education? Is actually no. Yeah, I stumble along and I move along, and my dream is to be a psychologist, but I still think that I'm already playing that role as a college director. Yeah, building the bridge between the student and the parents, and also with the industry. So I'm still pretty happy with this role in education. Thank you,
Ivy. So moving on to our next speaker. She is the founder of Luminary Coaching and Consulting, an award-winning international keynote speaker, the founder of Life Unscripted TV and podcast show, and UNICEF Orlando. She's an international best-selling author and multimedia figure. One of the few certified P&A coaches in the world under Dr. Steve Maraboli, and the founder of UNICEF's 14 Congressional Advocacy Team in the USA, Welcome, Melody Garcia.
Thank you, ladies. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is such a beautiful space to be in. Again, my name is Melody Garcia, and with all that, yes, I am the founder. I have I was in corporate America for over 22 years in a sales leadership, senior leadership position, and a calling happened in my life that it was time for me to let go of what was comfortable, especially being a single mom, and go into this roller coaster ride called entrepreneurship for more of a global transformational impact. Yes, I do have my own company called Luminary Coaching and Consulting with international clients around the world. And then I also then got into the media and created Life Unscripted podcasts, and that became a television show, and have multimedia handling along with about 3 international magazines, ranging from any article exposure I have from 10 countries up to 74 countries in all the writings that I do share out there with the world. In addition, my humanitarian space have taken me into creating UNICEF Orlando, which became the 14th Congressional Advocacy Team. We represent 195 countries in children global advocacy for those things that do matter to me. And then on top of that, I just recently, and this is the first time I'm making this announcement in this space, have been offered a role which I said absolutely yes to, and I'll explain why I did that, as a vice president of global sales for a company that's launching called Virexa, which now ventures into virtual reality experience as the new way for business continuum. And again, it's a technology space I have never been into, but in today what had happened with the world, we, instead of pivoting, is creating something so new and revolutionary that would ensure business continuance, that would ensure proficiency and profitability, and everything else that I'll be discussing in my journey. But to take you back before all this big titles, one of the first questions I do get is, how are you managing all of this? Because it seems to be a lot. Well, inherently, I always point to my creator. Every single platform I have ever covered, whether my book had landed in the US Library of Congress, I have shared the biggest platforms. The last stage that I actually keynoted at before the world shut down, as I call it, was being invited to Harvard University. And I've recognized that that was just one of those incredible opportunities. In fact, just out of my curiosity, to Google, when was the last time a Filipino, because I was born in the Philippines but grew up in the United States, when was the last time a Filipino keynoted in Harvard University? And I was pleased to find out it was back in 1950, and 70 years later, here I come in. But in my journey, I've found that I'm getting into spaces and places that are usually hard to access, but in my case, it had become with ease. Why? I always give glory to God. That has been my platform, and I'm going to tell you my journey, or my creator, whatever it is that you worship or believe in. I will always give glory to God. So unfortunately, in 1986, I had to disappear from my country due to government unrest and death threats and such. My family went from a life of comfort to a life of lack coming to the United States. So I've seen both sides of the element, and that has stayed with me. Grew up pretty much in the United States, and for those that are representing the Philippines today, Miss Christine, right over there, a massive typhoon called Typhoon Haiyan happened in November of 2013. In that, I have not been back to the Philippines just because of safety reasons and everything else that, after several decades in the United States. But inherently, I had a feeling that it didn't matter how far I was from the homeland, I had to do something to help those people, and somehow donating to the Red Cross or such was just not sufficient for me. So in one inherent prayer that I dished out to the universe or to God, I basically said, help me help them, and activate all the gifts you've given me to help me reach them. The next day, I had an epiphany to create such a, just basically benefit concert. Another one of my hobbies is singing. So I decided, why not? Let's do this little benefit concert, and whatever we earn as performers, we'll donate it straight to the Philippines. That was like the major game plan. When you give your heart in the act of service, especially serving our creator and then serving humanity, it's a powerful combination of the most impossibles being made possible. So to make a long story short, my intended benefit concert, that this number 20 for some reason kept coming at my way with more miracles than I could potentially even explain in this short time we have with each other. in 3 weeks becomes a full-blown benefit concert. That was called One Night, One Voice. And on top of everything, connected me with one of the CNN Heroes of the Year, who then wrote to me and challenged me and basically said, "Oh, hero of your country, rise up. Your people need you." It was emotionally powerful and yet overwhelming to be given such a task. And here I was halfway around the world with the mentality at the time going, but it's just a concert. However, the number 20 that kept coming to me, whether you call it God whisper or intuition, was very symbolic, because the result of One Night, One Voice, when all was said and done, ended up impacting and saving over 20,000 lives in the Philippines, halfway around the world, by providing sustainability gardens, mass feeding efforts and such. And it became a pivotal crossroad back in 2013 in my life, going with the epiphany of every day you delay, more people suffer. Would you not have fully stepped up to that purpose? What would the possibility be? And I still went back to what was comfortable. But then 5 years later, the calling came again in a much stronger platform. So I let go of what was comfortable and stepped into what was incredible in a journey. It had led me into international platforms, sharing speaking platforms with such as like the former First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama, being invited by Les Brown, being invited to Dubai, to London, meeting with the Dalai Lama, meeting with the princes of Morocco, and it has just been a wild, just a beautiful ride of transformational impact. And in fact, the mentor that I have, Dr. Steve Maraboli, is the most quoted man alive with 100 million reader reach. The reason why we say that I hold one of the rare certifications, which is called psychoneuroactualization. In other words, I am trained and certified to maximize the human potential. I believe one of the questions was asked is, what gives me the most fulfillment? What gives me the most fulfillment is being able to work directly with different women, different clients, and bringing out the best of who they really are. It's leadership, making leaders or growing leaders for impact, because the world needs it in the way that, things are turning right now. We cannot be selfish with our talents, our time. It's all about, we give it to others so that we can make a better world. There's a quote that says, let's leave a better world for our children, which I actually do challenge in my platform. And I say, why don't we leave better children for our world? Because inherently, they're the ones that's going to end up solving the problem and falling into these different spaces of leadership. There are, as I had mentioned, a lot of my handlings that I do face, but it's not something that I actually face with difficulty, rather with a lot of gusto of saying, so how can I make impact today? How can I transform lives today? How can I send the right message in the service of others? Because at the end of my lifetime, with all the talents and gifts that I have been given, just to share one of my favorite quotes with the ladies that I do live by, among 10 million other quotes that we all have, as a favorite is from Irma Bombeck that goes, "When I stand before God at the end of my life, I would hope that I would not have a single bit of talent left and could say, I used everything you have given me." So that is one of the quotes that I live by. I found myself in spaces and places of meeting with, I'm a single mom. I have no business being on this Capitol Hill, meeting with members of Senate and Congress in the United States space. But yet, you know what? In my walk, again, going back to our Kingdom Creator platform, I've also learned something that was inherently true. God doesn't call on the qualified, but he will qualify the called. Every single adversity that you have all been through that led us to this moment was in fact a gift along the way, because somewhere along the way we were going to have to pull from those resources, those pain points that became the catalyst to our purpose. So that is what I basically share with the world, is you can be more than what you think you are, the capacity in which you could serve. Take a look at my journey, single mom, corporate America, former life, and then the world opened up and I stepped in and just lived unapologetically in the service of others, learned this word interdependence versus independence, because I could not do it on my own. One of the inherent gifts that I have that I actually will share out on how do you become successful is this: build quality relationships and build it to the point that it becomes a global scale. Build it to the point that even in this own platform, I can call him Love Charmaine, I can call him Miss Christine, I can call Miss Cynthia Barker and say, I'm coming into town. Let's collaborate. What can I do to help serve? Because inherently, at the end of the day, it's in unity, interdependence, cross-collaboration, shared gifts, shared intelligence, right? And even just having fun along the way that does change the world. So that's my story for now.
Thank you, Melody.
You're very welcome.
I must actually commend you on being a single mom. I mean, that alone is an achievement. I actually grew up with one parent, which was my mom. And, you know, hats off to women like you. Because that alone is a task. And for you to get where you are today, amazing, brilliant.
Thank you.
So well done. And then obviously you are a humanitarian in, you know, creating your concert. So I want to know, what were the challenges that you stumbled upon and how did you overcome them?
Oh, sure. It's absolutely. So one of the platforms I speak on humanitarian and even in coaching consulting space is this. You know, in today's times, people get so desensitized with everything that's been going on, the media, the bombardment, right? And then it gets stale news. They move on to the next one. Is that there's still also this mixed message that in order for you to be successful, it's all about the materialistic things. I had to be able to drive in the fact that it's about time, and look at what happened in 2020. It actually showed up more powerfully than ever before, that people get so caught up in raising the standards of their living that they've forgotten to raise the standards of life. That 2020 showed us more than anything, and I share this on stages, and it's something that I've actually watched from a video, but it's so true. It doesn't matter whether you ride first class or economy on a plane, because the destination of the plane remains the same, doesn't it? Or whether you're wearing a Rolex or a Timex, because the time that you look at remains the same. Or you're driving a Bentley or a beat up Toyota, right? Or catching an Uber because you don't have a car. The destination of that road remains the same. So in other words, right, let's shift that focus. And I've been successful in doing this in different spaces to really give care and attention to what's critical, which is, again, the standards of life in respect of humanity, in respect of who you're speaking with, that has nothing to do what is their net worth. And in fact, look at, I don't know how it was in different countries, one of the pandemic showed a shortage of toilet paper. Everybody in different parts of the nation, right, was in search of this toilet paper, something so menial, but that became a lot more worthy than a Louis Vuitton bag, right? And the frontline workers and the grocery store clerks that became so critical to all of our survival took first place rather than in the United States, any of the celebrities. Yes, they funded some of these things. It was beautiful, but they were not needed for our survival. Who was needed were the ones that we often overlooked and often not think. So it really drove in that part, and that's how I overcame those challenges. 2020 became a platform of, I've received so many calls from different places that I've spoken with going, everything you spoke about on stage is now at full play. I said, yes, inherently, it's the value of human life.
Wise words from Melody. Thank you, Melody Garcia.
Thank you.
You know, I totally agree. I think COVID-19 has taught us many lessons. So definitely going to take that advice from you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next speaker. She is a World Diplomatic Ambassador for Brazil, Green Innovator USA, founder of Loaniglobal Foundation and Women Fit India Mission. She is an expert in overseeing strategic planning, budget administration, program development and management to create improvements in academic performance for special education students. Welcoming Meenakshi Soni.
Am I audible? Yeah, thank you so much. Namaste from India. All right, so I would like to say hello to everybody from India. All right, and great evening to all of you. And a warm thanks to my dearest friend, Love, and my dearest friend Caroline Makaka. Thank you so much. Because of you, I'm getting the opportunity to, to talk the world. I feel like I'm talking to the world. So thank you so much for that. I'm the founder, president of Loaniglobal Foundation. I'm into, I have taken my initiatives with the Loaniglobal Economic Trade Council as well, where we are supporting all the startups worldwide, not only in India, but I'm supporting all the startups, the college students, the university students, and and the young entrepreneurs, the women entrepreneurs, enterprising. We are supporting them throughout their journey, with the revenue development, with the strategy building. I'm also a leader, I believe that the woman and the leadership goes hand in hand. And today, as we all are here for opportunity and leadership, so in the middle of the difficulty, I think you all agree with me that the opportunity lies. Do you agree with me? So you can say something. All right. All right. So we all are here today creating opportunities as per the strengths that we carry, right? And this is the most challenging part of my work, because I am uplifting the students, I'm uplifting the dreams of young generation. And being an evangelist, being an educationalist, being a director education of various niche brands of Middle East, of India, of US, and being awarded from every arena of the world. I can say I've been awarded from US as a Green Innovator Project. I went to Middle East. I got an award for my innovation practices and leadership performance. I do write books for my students. I do give them lectures. I go and teach the bachelor students of business administration, management, and I do support the students worldwide. And the best is that we do support with the revenue, with to scale up their businesses. And it's been that going to be a great figure I like to share with you. We have supported more than 350 students worldwide to uplift their dreams. So that's the biggest, awesome, outstanding journey till now of Loaniglobal Foundation and Loaniglobal Economic Trade Council. I'm also the member of the Chamber of CEE, that's the Confederation of Education Excellence. I do support various chambers in commerce, in industry, in economic, in trade, and that's also been connected worldwide. So I can support, it would be great if I can support any one of you. And rather, I'm feeling very blessed to be there as a speaker with Prodigy Puree and my dearest friend, Love. I really always say Love, and I introduce her like this. Yeah. Yeah. So we all can do it for her, because she has done beautiful job. And Daksha, you are doing wonderful. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I like to come with my, the people's always have been, and people I have come to this point in my earliest career. When I have accepted that no matter what job, what industry, or that, or company the people belong, you definitely going to break it. You can break it. And, the clients, the customers, or the public, that the sources they are the real strength in our life. Some major stresses of my past experiences: nepotism, favoritism, because I think we all have bosses somehow or the other, and we do face this problem of favoritism. When I was one of you, they were, the challenges that I occurred in my life was the most of the important thing in the world I have been accomplished by people who have kept on trying whenever they seem to do no hope at all. So I believe when there is no hope, there are opportunities. So do you believe with me? Do you all believe with me? All right, thank you. So that's what, and I like to be diversify my talk in 25 gems. I like to share some gems today. So not that you can eat it, but these are the gems that I like to share with you. They are take time to know, take time to know each other or thyself. As when you know who you are, you can be the wise about your goals. Am I right, Eve? Do you agree with me, Eve? Yes. So we can always say thank you, Fauza. Thank you for that thumbs up. So my talk shows, like whenever I speak, I keep on involving everybody. So I feel you will not mind it. You will all not mind it, right? Thank you. Thank you. So when you know who you are, so you can be the wise about your goals and your dreams. That's what we all are here all together. A narrow focus brings the big results. Do you agree with me, Linda? Miss Linda, do you agree with me? Are you there? Yes. A narrow focus brings a big result. So that's what love all about. She's a very focused, and because of her, all of our dreams getting through. Gathering up all of us. Thank you, love. Show up fully. We need to show up the fullest in us. And don't dwell on the past. You never dwell on the past. I never did it. That's why I'm talking about 25 gems today. Don't daydream about the future. Concentrate on showing up fully. I really agree, Melody. Though you're a single mother, the strength that you carry is in you. The commitment that you have, with yourself. It's remarkable. Thank you. Yeah. And don't make assumptions. We need to be very patient. So, that's what our organization is all about. We are adhering not only the India, we are adhering United Nations. We are supporting and promoting all the sustainable development goals worldwide, starting from goal 1 to goal 17. We are supporting no poverty. We are supporting entrepreneurship. We are supporting enterprising. We are supporting all the young youth. Even we recently had the World Youth Skill Day, where more than 100 plus youth from the entire arena of the world have gathered up. They have shared their success story at the age of 18. It was overwhelming, you know. So that's what the strength all about, your education all about, the opportunities that we all are gathered here. So our education, our organization is supporting hand in hand, keeping all the arenas of the world, keeping all the opportunities together intact. I just want to imagine my dad today. I'm remembering my dad because he was my inspiration. I want to change in this world is like, I just don't want to do nothing. My ultimate goal is to become the successful, woman leader. So I do not want to become the businesswoman. I do not want to become the enterprising or entrepreneur. I want to be the world's best leader. And that's what I need your blessings for this dream coming true. They are 25 gems, and one of the gems, I'm doing my affirmations in front of you. All right. And I'm coming to, be your best at all times. So, we do support people for animals. We have various projects that we are supporting. We are supporting the domestic violence victims. We are supporting the leaders on virtual reality, augmented reality. We are also supporting the technology to uplift the standards of technology. We have certain research team with us, who are supporting us, day to day, that, how we can together create the difference in education, in technology, in the world. So, and I believe that we all believe ourselves. So, do you all believe yourself? Do you all believe? Yes, yes, right? Okay, that's wonderful. So believe in yourself. That's what La Global Foundation all about. And that belief is making us 2,000 people strong, working worldwide, working and touching each and every important aspect of the world and the necessities. We are so not only supporting, we are uplifting the dreams together. And at the last but not the least, if your actions inspire others to dream more, work more, learn more, and do more, so you are a leader. So do you agree with me? So you all are leaders, right? Thank you. And the innovation distinguish between the leader and the self-believer. So that's what our organization all about. And we need all of your blessings to grow infinity, to grow like the universe. And that's what dream all about. And I'll be meeting you soon, and love, thank you so much. Daksha, you are doing wonderful. I'm feeling so overwhelmed that the way you are projecting everything, giving opportunities to all of us. Thank you so much, all the dignitaries, all the leaders of the world from India. Thank you and namaste.
Thank you, Meenakshi. So I definitely believe that you always have to believe in yourself, because I mean, if no one else does, who else will? So it definitely has to be yourself, believing in yourself. You know, India holds such a special place in my heart. Been there many times, love the culture, love the food, love the colors, love the vibrant weddings, love everything about India. And I must tell you, all the young girls are very hardworking. So they will be in school, but they'll still have jobs trying to make an income for their families. So I want to know, how did your passion come about in upskilling and uplifting these young entrepreneurs?
Sure, thank you so much for asking this question, and that touched my heart. When I was a child, I used to crave so much, and there was so much to know about it. And I find there were no answers at all. Probably I was craving, I was starving that somebody, out of my corner, my house, my friend, can probably support me with my answers. And I would like to being more entrepreneur. Like at the age of 14, I got my ideas. That I need to invent things. I need to do something in technology. I need to do that can support people around the world. So at the age of 14, but no support at all. So that was my craving, my starving towards the young youth, that I would going to create that support system, not only for India, for world. So the young youth will get their dreams come true. No age bars, no age waiting. They can start their dreams coming true at the age of 14, 12. So no limitations at all. And we are doing it very fruitfully. And I'll definitely going to call all of you. I'll invite you, Daksha, especially whenever we'll be having next World Youth Skill Day celebration, and you will going to listen the beautiful stories of the young youth at the age of 12. They are doing programming. They are earning more than what we can think. They have been hired from Google. They have been hired from topmost industries, topmost pioneer pilots projects, and you will love to see them. The energies and the level they can create.
Thank you so much. As a youth, I think it's always great to have a mentor, and that's exactly what you're doing. These youngsters are going into entrepreneurship, and that's amazing. So well done on that.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next speaker. She is an entrepreneur at Sweet Sensations, a senior homeless persons officer at Borough Council. She is a co-founder, V2S Empowerment, and a civic leader. She is currently assessing victims of domestic abuse and providing solutions that allow them to break free from abuse and rehabilitate them independently back into the community. Seema Danik. Welcome.
Thank you, first of all, Laksha, for the wonderful introductions. As you can see from the introductions, I really do spin quite a few plates there. Yes, I do own my own chocolatiering business, which at the moment I've allowed to sort of settle and not work on that at the moment. My main priorities at the moment are working with the homeless and working with domestic violence, victims of domestic abuse. So just to give you an introduction, firstly, I'm in the UK. I'm of Indian heritage, like many of you here today. I've been working within local authority settings for the last 15 years. And in that period of time, I've come to realize that domestic abuse is a national, international, global problem. It happens across every culture. It happens across every social sort of level. It is not just a deprived family problem. It is across middle class, upper class, every level of every lifestyle that you can imagine. Somebody or another is suffering with domestic abuse. The statistics in the UK are shocking. It's 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men. And to put that into real terms, what that means is that 2 people, in fact, in real terms, 2 women per week are actually being killed as a result of domestic abuse. So my vision and my mission is to prevent the harm caused by domestic abuse through education. Because at the moment there is professional services and the victim and nothing else in between. So my mission is to actually break through those cultural taboos. My mission is to work with women like yourselves, who perhaps some of you will have experience of domestic abuse and some of you may have an interest in the subject, but not necessarily have the understanding or the professional knowledge to be able to support a victim of domestic abuse through what they're going through. So my mission, like I said, is to work with women like yourselves to change the way that we respond to domestic abuse. I'm going to highlight the 3 ways in which I believe domestic abuse needs to be responded to differently. So socially, what is happening amongst our friend circle? We need to understand, if a person within our group has become withdrawn, have you noticed relationship issues? Have you noticed that a partner is putting someone down, or there's just something that your gut instinct tells you isn't right? Are you going to sit back and ignore your gut feeling? Or actually, are you going to take a compassionate stance and say, actually, I'm really worried about you? You don't have to use the word domestic abuse. You can just say, I'm really worried about you. What's happening in your life? Is there anything that I can help you with? Is there anything that you'd like to talk to me about? And that will open the floodgates to a conversation where they may not divulge domestic abuse. But by doing that, you've already given them the platform of their first step of actually coming out and disclosing this awful experience of domestic abuse, which then makes it easier for them to go on and get professional help. So socially, that's what needs to change, the way we respond to those people around us who may be suffering. Culturally, there is a huge taboo across every single culture, whether you are Black, white, Asian, whichever part of the world you are from, even white middle class, Asian middle class, whether they are in deprived backgrounds or upper class backgrounds. The issue of domestic abuse is such a taboo that there is so much embarrassment about talking about these things. Why do we talk so freely about cancer and heart disease and obesity? Yet domestic abuse is something that affects 1 in 4 women in the UK. If we calculate just how many women we have on our platform today, you can easily sort of tell that actually some of us may have been touched by abuse in our lifestyles. So with that, we need to open up these conversations unapologetically, and we need to talk about these things so much more within our communities, with our spiritual leaders, with our entrepreneurial friends, so that it becomes unacceptable to be in an abusive relationship, and so that we as women can provide a shield of solidarity for our sisters who might be suffering. And as we as women can also support male victims of domestic abuse. Why should it be just a taboo for women? It is just as much a taboo for men as well, and they suffer the highest amount of mental health issues and the highest rate of suicide. So it's a problem for both genders. The other side of responding to domestic abuse that I want to see a change in, and this is where my entrepreneurial skills will really come through. I'm really looking at working at changing the way professionals respond to domestic abuse. So whether you are a consultancy working with female entrepreneurs, whether you are a beauty salon offering hair treatments and facials and nail treatments, whether you're a fashion designer or any type of business that involves dealing with the public, okay? You could be an employer with, say, 100 employees, out of which 60 of them could be women. Do you have a domestic violence policy? And how would you respond to that if your employee came to you and said, I'm a victim of domestic abuse? What will you do? Will you just expect them to say, well, you know, it's your problem, it's your household issue, we can't give you time off to sort this out, you still have to come into work? And what that does is that it basically prevents an individual from coming out of an abusive relationship, because it's one of those things that prevents them from leaving. That stability that they have with their employers, that stability that they have of knowing the environment that they're in, becomes more comfortable, so much so that they would rather endure the abuse. So as a professional, could you change the way you respond to your employees suffering with abuse? And as a business, could you provide perhaps a safe environment for a customer? In America, it's known that actually hairdressers need to take safeguarding training about domestic abuse, because it's one of the most common places where it's disclosed. You don't know your hairdresser that often. You don't feel judged by them. You only see them maybe once a month, once every 2 months, whatever. And you end up disclosing the abuse to them. But are they professionally trained to respond to it correctly? Certainly in many parts of the world, no. So as a business, would you be willing to educate yourself? Would you be willing to provide the space for a victim of domestic abuse to make a half an hour, 20-minute phone call from the privacy of your office, so that they have a safe place to be able to access help? Here in the UK, if a victim of domestic abuse wants help, they will either go to the police station, they may go to their doctor, they may go to the hospital, or they may go to a local council office. And all of these are hotspots that a perpetrator of domestic abuse very well knows about. So going to one of these agencies could easily spike suspicion in the mind of an abuser and put the victim of domestic abuse in further danger. However, if we as ordinary people are able to provide a safe haven for these individuals to reach out for help, then it provides them with the assurance that they can actually seek out help and do so in a safe environment. Who knows whose life you will save by just allowing them to phone up and speak to a helpline. I want to go on to some of the challenges, what the most challenging part of my work has been so far. I think the most challenging part of my work is to get people to engage in conversation about domestic abuse. It's emotive, it's uncomfortable, and nobody really wants to look the beast in the eye for what it really is and how severe its impact is on people's mental health. So my greatest challenge has been to actually encourage more and more people to really come out and talk about the subject, whether they are talking about it in terms of their own opinions, or whether they're talking about it from a victim perspective where they perhaps have been a victim and want to actually talk about their experiences. That these conversations are not only healthy, but they're important. I want to touch on something that Melody said earlier. She mentioned that, why do we need to create a better world for our children? Why don't we create better children for this world? And Melody, your statement really resonates with me. The reason it resonates with me is because if we educate our children about domestic abuse and how unacceptable it is, if we educate them about healthy relationships and the importance of respecting each other's boundaries, then they are our future. So we need to educate our future in becoming better towards their partners and their families. So I absolutely love that quote, and if you don't mind, I will be using that in my future speeches as well, because it's a wonderful thing to say. What inspired me to become a ambassador and a public speaker on the subject of domestic abuse? Interestingly, I'm not a victim of domestic abuse myself, and I don't think anyone needs to be a victim of domestic abuse to campaign for it. What you need is the heart and the compassion to want to make a difference. I think that's what makes me unique, and I think that is what I want to inspire other individuals to do. Domestic abuse is not just a female issue. I want men to get involved. I want them to own their responsibility in prevention of domestic abuse. And that means calling out their friends if there is ever a misogynistic joke that happens around them about their partners, calling out other male members of the family where they might be abusive towards their partners. Other men have a responsibility to be role models to their peers, to their younger generation, and to their older generation. So we need men, more men, to campaign for domestic abuse too. My greatest achievement so far, I don't have an accolade of awards or anything like that. What I do have is a string of women who have become survivor stories. There are women who I have supported, who have come out of abusive relationships and contacted me a few years later to say they couldn't have done it without a little bit of emotional support that they had from me. For me, those are my greatest achievements. I'm very humbled that way. I believe that my work speaks for itself. I hope that my achievements going forward will be greater, because I'm one person. I cannot change the world on my own. But if I can show people the light of how I'm doing my work the way I'm doing it, and that you can do it too. Like I said, I myself am not a victim of domestic abuse, yet I campaign for it, and I want to make a difference to people who want to do the same. So if anyone does wish to connect with me on how to support victims of domestic abuse, please feel free to connect with me on Facebook. My name is as it is on the screen. I'll be more than willing to speak to you. My advice to other women in these difficult times: we have been in lockdown for a number of weeks now. Some parts of the world are still in lockdown. Globally, the pandemic is at its peak in some parts of the world and is coming out and recovering in others. It has shown a massive increase of incidents of domestic abuse and deaths as a result of domestic abuse. It's a residual side effect of the pandemic is the deaths caused by domestic abuse, which saddens me deeply. And I want anyone who's watching to know that there is no reason for you to stay in an abusive relationship. Find that strength within you, call out for help, and put one foot in front of the other, and just watch how the world unfolds in front of you and provides you with the pathway you need to your freedom and to your life that you deserve to live in a respectful and dignified way without abuse. You're not alone is my message to you. My message to any woman who is struggling with any form of abuse is you are not alone. It's 1 in 4 women. It's 1 in 6 men. And let's not let another one of these women or men be a statistic to domestic abuse, to being one of those every week 2 people are killed as a result of domestic abuse. I refuse to allow anyone to be another statistic, and I hope you can too.
Thank you, Seema. So, Seema, I know you did speak about your accolades, that you don't have any. I just want you to know that you being who you are is an accolade and an achievement on its own. I must tell you that a title does not make you who you are. So I think we should all just remember that on its own. So, you know, domestic abuse is quite a big thing here in South Africa as well. And, especially during COVID-19, when people are stuck with each other, they can't get out, and domestic violence is quite a big thing. I want to know, if I had a friend and I brought this friend to you, what would the process be in bringing them to a safe haven?
Okay, so it varies from country to country. Okay, so in the UK, we have our own professional services. I've done some networking with a wonderful lady in East Africa recently who spoke about the services that are in her country. And what I would advise you to do is we need to look at what services are available in your local area. And we need to look at who can advocate the best for your friend. We need to look at, what does your friend actually want as an outcome? So she's disclosed the abuse. And there are many, many cases where a man or a woman will turn around and say, well, yes, I'm suffering with domestic abuse, but actually I don't want to leave them. And the reason for that could be a number of things. It could be a loss of a financial lifestyle. It could be loss of stability. It could be the threat of homelessness. It could be the threat of losing their children. It's shame and embarrassment. It's cultural and it's social. So there are a lot of reasons why an individual may not want to leave. So talking about their ideal outcomes after they've revealed that they are a victim of domestic abuse is really, really important, to talk to them about what they want. So ask them, simple, straight out. So what can I do to help you? Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? And what do you want us, how can we help you to get there? Are the things that I would like you to ask her. Based on their answers, that is when you look at what professional services are in your area. So if this is an individual who is homeless as a result of domestic abuse, it would be interesting to know if what shelters are in your area where she could access, rehabilitate, and put her head down for the night in a safe and dignified way. Is it the fact that she needs emotional support through counselling and psychotherapy so that she can build her strength up? Like I said, bear in mind that domestic abuse isn't always a deprived community thing. It also happens in very affluent communities. However, the confidence that is damaged and the psychological impact of domestic abuse is the same across the board everywhere. So if a woman or a man needs counselling and psychotherapy to be able to build themselves back up so they have the strength to either leave or start their life over again, that could be something that you could put them in touch with. And the other side is, actually there are some perpetrators of domestic abuse who recognize, they call it anger management, that they have an issue with controlling their temper, they just see red, they don't mean it, and they recognize that their behavior is wrong. Should someone like that be given an opportunity to actually rehabilitate and reform? And could a relationship counsellor perhaps help them with that? So you see, the solution to a person coming to you with domestic abuse is not simply get out and stay out. It should be, but it isn't always. And I think it's important to acknowledge the person's wishes and desires in that process. That what can we do to help you build yourself back up? Because it isn't always, a victim of abuse is not always ready to leave straight away. And my advice leading on from that is, please never ever give up on somebody just because they didn't follow your advice. That will destroy their confidence and they may never come back to you to talk to you about it again. You need to say to them that I respect whatever decision you make. You need to say to them that we're here for you to provide you with whatever emotional support that you need, and for as long as it takes you. To put this into real perspective, there have been women suffering domestic abuse that I have supported for as long as 7 years of my life. And only after 7 years have they found the strength within them to free themselves from it or do something about it. So we have to respect their decisions. We have to respect that they may go through a cycle of domestic abuse for many, many years before they actually break themselves free. So continue to support them, continue to encourage them to talk and believe them. Believing a victim of domestic abuse is a big thing.
Thank you, Seema. I think like you said, we don't speak about it enough. And, you know, this is a great platform. If you are experiencing domestic abuse, even if it's emotional, even if it's physical, contact your local person. You know, it's time to get out and have a voice.
Yes, there are services all over the world, absolutely, you know, and I encourage all of you today that if there is one thing you take from what I have said today, is just Google your local services in your area, or ask at your local community services, whatever your network of services are in your country, in your area. Find out, so that if somebody ever does come and disclose domestic abuse to you, you at least have a starting point.
Definitely, thank you. Moving on to our next speaker. She is an ambassador for the 44th President Barack Obama's Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award program. She is a USA Global Goodwill Ambassador, a Christian leader and theology studies degree holder, life and networking coach, and a public speaker. Peterson is a licensed minister and a senior pastor at Woman of God Forever Ministries and the Vision in You Outreach Ministries since 2006. Dr. Lenora Wimbley Peterson, welcome.
I just think she left. I think I just saw a message from her. Just checking.
Let's proceed to the next speaker, please.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to our next speaker. She is the founder of FOSA Consultancy Limited, author of The Rising from the Dust, speaker and a dynamic businesswoman. She is the founder of FOSA Foundation, aimed at empowering young women. In 2006, she was awarded the Feminine Force of Success Award winner, Fierce and Fabulous Awards in Melbourne, Australia. Welcome, Fozia Baltz.
Sorry, I was in mute. Thank you so much for having me, really. And it's such a pleasure to be here and to share a bit of the ministry. I call it ministry, really, that I do. And I'm so happy to see my sister Melody once again. Love, thank you for including me on this conversation tonight. I thought I would not rather really answer the questions, but tell you a story. How did it all start? I grew up in a very abusive family where I felt that I never belonged. And even when I reached the adult years in my life, I felt like, it's the question where we ask ourselves, what is my purpose? Why am I here? What's really God saying about me? Does my birth really matters? So I was on the quest of finding who am I and why am I here, that really led me to do the things that I'm doing today. And a few years ago, I read a book by a woman called Louise Hay called You Can Heal Your Life. Louise Hay tells us in her book that if we are willing to do the mental work, almost anything can be healed. And so it is after I read Louise Hay's book, I realized that actually I have the power to heal my own life. I have the power to go past my traumas. Growing up in abusive home, dysfunctional home without my parents, I honestly felt that there was nothing that is really important for me in this earth. And so at this point, I was trying to reconcile with myself the reason of my birth that really caused family division. And going on this journey of finding myself, finding my purpose, that's what led me now to writing my book, Rising from the Dust, A Woman's Journey to Self-Discovery. I wanted to share my story and face my past, which was, and sometimes until today, is still not easy, as it has made me become very vulnerable. And so after I published my book, the media started approaching me. Apparently, what I was doing was not a norm, looking at, where I come from in Kenya. And so it became, they wanted to interview me, they wanted to know, because writing such stories, it's not something for us, for what we do in Africa. It's more called for the Western. And when I started sharing my story, I received a lot of messages because people were connecting with the story. They saw themselves through my story when they see me speaking. And now that led me to start a woman-to-woman conversation, which it's a platform that I love bringing women together, like what my sister Love is doing tonight, to share our stories and to empower one another to change our stories and really to reinvent our stories. Because what I believe is each one of us has power. We all have power to become, not just to be, but to become. And so going through that, again, I realized that the teenagers, they wanted also something, because when they see me speak in the media, they watch the interviews and all that, I get messages. And then I realized, what if someone talked to me when I was 14 or 15, would that have helped me? Would have I been maybe handled, the dysfunctional in my home differently? Would have helped me to heal my pain better? But the most important question that I've been pondering was, would my relationship towards myself be different? And so really, I really think it would have been. And that's why I started visiting poorly equipped schools in Kenya to talk to these teenagers, to encourage them, to inspire them, and to motivate them, so that they can stand in their own power, because it's each one of us. And why am I doing this really? I want to empower these teenagers to know and understand that they are powerful beyond measure. There is a higher power that is greater than themselves, and this higher power supports them. It's for them and not against them. As a teenager, you sometimes you try to find yourself, and living in a difficult culture sometimes, it really can lead to a lot of trauma. So while I interacted, when I do the talks and all that, I discovered that the girls now, they were missing school sometimes, like a couple of weeks, every year, because of the menstruation problem, because they lacked sanitary towels. And I thought to myself, it took me back to my teenage years, when I started my menstruation and I had no sanitary. I remember the first menstruation, I had to use a piece of cloth. And you can imagine when you are on a monthly period, you have to use a piece of cloth. Sometimes you stain yourself. And so that's why most of the girls, they don't go to school because of the fear of messing their uniform. In 2019, there was a story in Kenya that went global. There was a young girl who committed suicide because she had made fun of by her male teacher after she had messed her uniform. And I remember for myself, every time of the month, I was worried about the same mess. So I could only imagine the trauma this girl went through to the point of taking her own life. And really, these and many other stories that I have encountered when I'm in the arena made me to start Fauza Foundation, a foundation where we aim empowering young men and women through motivational talks, mentoring, and supporting sanitaries for the young girls, and as well providing school amenities and school fees. It's through my journey, really, that started in a dysfunctional families that has taken me and put me in places with many people, men and women. The reason why I met Melody was I was on a platform last year here in Dubai. And sharing my story has taken me to so many places, two different worlds. Being in a room with presidents of Africa, and also taking me really to places where I've seen poverty that I've seen poverty that I cannot unsee with my own eyes anymore. And really, when we all look back at it, what I want to say tonight is, what kind of change are you going to make in someone else's life to improve their situation? I mean, at the end of the day, everyone wants to make money. We all want to have food on the table. But I honestly believe to serve, not just to be here, but to serve, to be good servants. And Martin Luther King says, I really love this quote. Martin Luther King says, not everybody can be famous. Not everybody. But everyone can serve. Because service is determined by greatness. You only need a heart full of love, grace, and a soul generated by love. So when we change other people's lives, we are not only changing their lives, we are changing, it's a global initiative. It becomes us. My challenges really, there are many, because what I've learned, I've met very rich people who they find it so hard to give even a single dollar. And so the challenges are many, and that's why we are here tonight. What can we do to elevate other people's lives? Because it's not all about fulfilling one's selfishness. It will seem like a challenge when it's only about Fauza. It will look like it's not easy when it's about oneself. And we are here to serve. So what can we do? When we put us aside and put the needs of other people, things will change little by little. And I don't believe in surviving either. Because when you look at these issues as a survival, it becomes harder. It becomes more selfish. It becomes oneness. But if we put our own needs aside and look out for the needs of others, then we will look at it differently, with love and with compassion. The young teenagers really who I work with, they're the ones who they inspire me. My family inspires me. When someone comes to me and they say, thank you, for me, that's really greatness. And that's my achievement as well. Because it's not about me. It's about us. It's about all of us. And so let us go out there and make the world a better place for the next generation, for our children and their generation, their generation. When we do that, the world will be beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Fauzia. We are just going to go back to our previous speaker. She got cut off, but she's an ambassador for the 44th President Barack Obama's Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award Program. She's a USA Global Goodwill Ambassador, a Christian leader and theology studies degree holder, a life and networking coach, a public speaker. Peterson is a licensed minister and senior pastor at Women of God Forever Ministries and the Vision in You Outreach since 2006. Welcome, Dr. Lenora Peterson.
Thank you so very much. I must apologize. First, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. We are all on different time zones, and I run a school. I will speak about that briefly, but I am preparing for a staff meeting. So I kind of got caught up, and it's daytime for us in Eastern time. So that was one of the reasons why I had to leave. But I told them to give me a little time and I'll get back with them. Before I get started, I'd like to just say a prayer. I believe in prayer and I believe in the Spirit. And I want to say, Father God, I thank you for bringing us ladies together in unity, bringing us together of all cultures, bringing us together to make a purpose in life. For we are here to help to change the world and be a beacon light around the world. And with each one of us have different special gifts, we want to bring it and make it all whole as one. So when we stand together in the future, our light will shine above all. And the purpose of what we are called for, I pray that it will manifest in each and every one of you. Thank you. First of all, my name is Ambassador Dr. Lenore Peterson. I'm the former ambassador for President Barack Obama Lifetime Achievement Award Program. Previous, I have been listening to everyone, and we all have so much in common, being mothers, wives. I listened to the young lady, Ivy. I have a sister named Ivy, when she spoke about her eye, about herself and her blindness. The funny thing about that, I too went through a situation where I was blind in one eye from a disease that was called pituitary tumor. So through that, I went through a lot of pain. I learned how to work myself through everything. Even though I had purposes to take care of things, I didn't let my illness stop me. So that right there put you and I in the same situation when you were speaking, Ms. Ivy. And then I thought about other ladies that's on this call. Everyone have a special gift. God give us all a purpose. I'm a former nurse. I worked in healthcare for 37 years. So I heard some of them spoke kind of about their age. I think that was Christine. And it's funny, I'm in my heart of my 60s, so it doesn't matter what age you are. You know, your new beginnings start when you start showing a purpose of what you're called for. We all have to go through something in life to understand what we need to change and where we need to help. Anything that happened, if you don't know of it, how can you help someone? Life experience is your gifts. You know, from raising your children to losing a loved one to finding out how to love. The whole purpose is to love one another, for all races, all color. There are good and bad in all of our nationality. There is no perfect life among itself. And that's what unity of the world is all about. I learned that basically from being under the staff of Obama's foundation, because he is a man for all people. And there are so many others out here in the world, it's the same way. We just lost a dear advocate here in United States, which I know everyone know of him, which was Mr. John Lewis. He was one that strived in civil rights. Civil rights was for everyone, regardless of your color, whatever your case. If you were discriminated, if you were put in prison from being one that was discriminated from your family, because I have friends that's in China where they were abused, and that's a political situation where they seem to have a tendency of just bringing a lot of democracy against women's of all. We are always seen to be in the second place, but that have changed because we are standing out on the forefront now. Me as a woman and the position that I have now, thanks to Mr. John Lewis, I now have a school. And the school is an advocacy program school where we are we help individuals to get their honorary doctorate in humanitarianism, where whatever your purpose, whatever your lifestyle is, whatever you have done, you take that and you get a degree in it. And this is something that was planned through the Civil Rights Program. We like to teach on the purpose, like I stated, about love. Love is the pureness of everything. If you can love a child that's maybe born with one leg, one arm, no matter what, you know, if you can love an animal, you can love a person in poverty, a person that may have the best of the best. Because like someone said earlier, millionaires may have a lot, but they don't understand the purpose of love. And I think that came from Melanie, if I'm not mistaken. You have to know yourself. You have to know how to not to be self-centered. You got to learn how to swallow your pride, and you got to learn how to understand the purpose of our life, the purpose of our culture, the purpose of our community. With that being said, you will learn how to collaborate with other countries. I have so many friends from around the world. Some of them can't even speak a language where I can dialect, but I have to have an interpreter. But they know me from my smile. They know me from who I am. They know my name. They do know my name. And when a person learn your name and learn your face, that's a blessing. That's all you need. They will remember you. They will remember your face. They will remember you for whatever you do. And that's what you see when you see leaders that stands among others. You may not understand what they're saying, but you can learn them from their heart, and they're serving. We have to be servers. Help the ones that have not had. Help the ones that need more, or maybe just need a little bit, from groceries to just help the elderly, because we will get there one day. I am at that midpoint now, so I do understand. When your body and other things start changing in your life, you can tell the difference. Teach your young children, teach your young generation about what we are trying to do. That's where that grandma and ancestors come from, the culture of your life. We have to go back to the basic. The basis will help us to develop a new fundamental for our own kind. But the most important thing, do not teach racism. Racism is a disease. Racism is a thing that's been taught by other ignorant people. It's not something that was formatted. You can put two little children together of all races in a room. They will play with each other. They know how to share and play. They may not understand what's going on, and that's where it starts at. So myself, my program, that's what it's all about. I don't take things for granted. I'm very humble with my heart. I've learned from my past. I have experienced hardship. I have experienced goodship. But the thing about it now, I know where I'm standing. So get your visionary together. Like the Bible said, write it down and make it plain. Make it plain of what you want to do. Bring it to the forefront. Bring it to the table, and let us just put this puzzle together in a tree of beauty. Let it branch out, because the fruit will show for itself as we grow. And once we do that, we will see the love. We don't have to chase it. It's there. Just this phone call showing us that it's here, because you wouldn't be on this call if you didn't feel that you wanted to be a part. So we are all a piece of the pie. We may not can understand the culture, but we can teach each other special things, like someone spoke about India and the color of clothes. I will agree. I love their material. I love the things that you wrap. I have even wore some of their outfits to the UN embassy. But the thing about it, that store know me, and I'm an African American, but they know that I love it. Certain foods we may like, certain foods we may not like, but we have to teach one another. We all have a gift. So with that being said, that's what I'm about. I'm about nothing but love and humanitarianism. So I thank you. God bless you all, and may, heaven shine upon each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lenora.
Amen.
So I have one question for you.
Yes.
You've done so much.
Okay.
What was the best memorable moment for you in your career?
Okay, standing next to President Barack Obama.
I was hoping you said that. I was hoping you said that.
Yeah, and knowing that when someone tell you with that highest rank to say, well done, you know, when you feel you grew up in poverty. I come from a community where, like someone else stated earlier, we didn't have much. We learned how to share a bag of potatoes, rice, and we made meals. But when He will make it where you can just elevate higher. The same thing with my school now. My school is so big. I think we're dealing with 15 different countries. And I'm steady trying to help others around the world as well as ourselves, because there's a big need, especially in Africa. We have the Lego, Nigeria, you know, we're dealing with peoples from everywhere. And the things that I see sometimes make me want to cry. So we'll send a bag of this or clothes over or whatever. Just be a giver, be a cheerful giver. A cheerful giver will help you to develop your fundamental. I have one of my spiritual daughters on here. I know she was on here earlier. One of my chaplains, and she's also international. Her name is Dr. Barnes. I don't know if you guys see her face. She does a lot. So we branch off. We all come together. We all come together and branch out around the world to make it a better place, because we're not giving up. We can't give up. This pandemic just have taken, like someone said earlier, it just made us start doing our homework. We're sitting in our homes, sitting together, putting our brains, mindset together and developing a whole new concept. And we're getting prepared to make a change. And we're doing that. And that's what it's all about.
Thank you, Dr. Leonora. I think, you know, this platform is for us to collaborate and partner. So ladies, you know, going forward, let's connect off this talk. Let's connect on social media, stay in touch, because you never know who you might need and who might need you.
Exactly. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you, Dr. Leonora.
God bless you all.
Fauza, I just want to get back to you on what you said. You know, menstruation matters is very close to my heart, and I'll tell you why. My mom is in business, and she actually owns the Princess D menstrual cup. So I don't know if you've heard of menstrual cups. Yes, and we are actually worldwide now. So I think there's a lot of synergy between you and I, and we must definitely connect. Yes, but I also want to get ask you a question. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give someone, a younger version, because you are connected with the youth? So what advice would you give to someone who has a similar story to yours?
I always tell my people, I call them my people, I always tell them that you are not alone, you know, and it really breaks my heart when I hear stories of suicidal, you know, depression, you know, some of the things we're not even allowed to talk about it because of the culture and all that. But every now and then when I'm lending a shoulder, when I'm talking to these girls, to these teenagers, young boys and girls, I tell them, you are not alone. Don't hide in the corner. If really you feel like you are so pushed to the wall, reach out. Because if I didn't reach out, I don't know where I would have been, honestly. And the reason why I emphasize on that is because I've gone through the season of depression myself, where I had to speak to someone and all that. And so you are not alone. And above all, there is a higher power. You know, I'm a believer. I believe that God has brought you here on this earth on such a time for a bigger reason and a bigger purpose than you can even imagine yourself. And so when you feel like you're in the lowest, by the time you think of doing or acting or hurting yourself, please talk to me. Just talk to me. I'm everywhere on social media. Just talk to me. Young people, talk to Fauza before you do anything, really. Because at the end of the day, it's the people that are left behind that they will carry the pain. You are not alone. Know that you are
Thank you,
loved
Elsa.
and know that you are loved.
Thank you. Ladies, I mean, I love the energy. All of you are so inspirational. I'm blown away, actually. So well done. Well done, definitely. So now we will be going into our panel discussion. I've prepared general theme questions, and this will be answered by our speakers. All 7 speakers will have a fair chance to answer a question, and I've chosen at random which speaker gets what question. Ladies, please note you have 5 minutes. So I have 3 main questions. 3 speakers will get the first question, 2 speakers will get the second question, and the other 2 speakers will get the third question. So my first question is for Lenora, Meenakshi, and Fauza. Lenora, you can go first. The question for you is, as a leader, a female leader, what has been the most significant barrier in your career?
Well, like I stated earlier, I didn't really get into detail about my own personal life. At one time, I was a single mom myself. But the blessing part, I have 3 girls. They are grown now and they all have degrees and they all have a career. So being a single parent, that's strength. And I heard some others spoke about that. When you know that you are able to be mom and dad, and they come away with a successful, career. One of my daughters, she's a lieutenant in the police department. The other one is a registered nurse, and another one is a vice principal of a high school. So these are things that I know I had to work at when you're in an area of growing up and there's drug contested situations going on and crime, but you shelter your children to teach them that even though we're living in this nest, but we don't have to be about this nest. And that's the purpose of when the love of God comes into your life. So that's a strength right there for me on the part of raising my children, single mom working a lot of hours at work and hoping when you get home your house is still intact. It's just things that you don't realize till later on in life that gives you strength to move on and your purpose, because I could have been in another negative situation where they could have been in prison or they could have been doing things that was illegal, and these are things that happen to a lot of moms or families, but it's not really their fault, but it's just that you got to know how to do what's best for your family first instead of yourself. If you see, some people's focus more on themselves, their careers and all of that, and then they lose their family by the wayside. Always be a part of your family, your children, your grandchildren. Be in their business. So that's something that I thank God that was instilled in me from my grandparents and mother, because this is what's wrong with our world today. Nobody have time for their loved ones. They say they do once they're in trouble, but where were you before it got started? So that's really one of my biggest thing that I'm so proud of, because I can look at them and smile and say, okay. And then when someone walk up to me and say, oh, I met your daughters, I met your this and that really gives you kind of a little big head, because you are the root of that. When
Yes,
you know
really
that they do well. Yeah.
And yourself, Meenakshi, what do you think?
Sorry?
She gotta unmute herself.
All right. So what I think is this is the chance to do something extraordinary. And as we are heading for the pandemic, and we can change the world. And I entirely agree with the ambassador, Dr. Leona. It was overwhelming listening to you, ma'am. And it's a great pleasure. I'm feeling so worthy today, and thanks to the entire fraternity of ladies of all nation international, and especially my dearest friend. I keep on recalling her name because she's one of the dearest one. She's love, none other than love. And I always say, let love and kindness be your roadmap. According to me, the kindness and the love has to be the roadmap for the success. And that's what my message all about.
Thank you. And Fauza, what would you say?
Could you repeat for me, sweetheart, the question?
Sure. As a female leader, what has been the most significant barrier in your career?
I have to be honest with you, Kat. There is a lot of need. And sometimes I feel like I can't do it on my own. And as the saying goes, alone you can do so little, but together we can do so much. There is a lot that needs to be done that many people don't even see and they don't even realize. And the reason is, most of the time, it's about me, myself, and I. And that's what I always emphasize. What is your why? Why are you choosing to do what you are doing? What is the significance that, what is the change that you want to see? And resources, that also can be a challenge sometimes because there is so much to do with so little. And so for me, what I always say is, I'll do what I can with what I have. And I'm so thankful. I've seen God sending helpers. Because last year, through the foundation, through the things that I've, the ministry that I have, we helped 2,000 girls in Africa. Now that, for me, is a blessing. And so it's possible, it's doable. Together, we can do that. Thank you.
Amazing. Definitely together. I think that's why, the main aim of Prodigy Bureau and Ladies of All Nations International is to create a sisterhood. So you're not alone. We are all in this together. Moving on to our next question. And our next question is for Melody and Seema. Melody, you're most welcome to go first. The question is, what advice would you give to the next generation of female leaders?
Never let anything stop you in the way. Don't ever classify yourself as a leader because because the male are stepping in, or because this is my ethnicity race, or this is what my net value, or because I don't have the education, right? In my personal journey serves as a testimony of defying the most impossible. I go back to my earlier quote, giving the platform back to our creator. God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. Each of us, the future little girls out there that's going to rise up as, who knows, first ladies, right? First presidents, the one who finds the cure for cancer, all of this impossibilities, right? Each of us has a very special gift. Some has an anointing, as I call it, within our, faith walk. But each of us has been given a gift. Just think of it as my message of this. There's almost 8 billion people on the planet. Yet not one has the same identical fingerprint. So don't buy in to the stories, especially, with the modeling, the acting. You have to be a certain type, a certain weight, a certain look, that you have to fit in to conform. I challenge them to live unapologetically, zoned in and honed into their gifts, right, to their message, to live passionately, to maximize on their talents and their calling, and align with those that are going to keep lifting them to the next level. I love the story of Rosa Parks. I love the story of just all these incredible women that dare, right? In my lifetime, with all the adversities, people would actually say, how dare you? And my response is, I do dare, right? I do dare. Because if not me, then who? I did dare to create a UNICEF team that all of a sudden represented 195 countries. I did dare to write that first article just because I was going through the deepest adversities. And that led me to global media connectivity, winning a lot of accolades that, I don't look at accolades, but just a milestone marker. I did dare speak my truth that led me to, global stages, right? Harvard University, some of the most impossible doors to get into because I did dare to be what? Me. I didn't dare to copy someone else. I just honed in on what are my strengths? What is my story? What is the deepest adversity that became a catalyst to my purpose? Who was there with me along the way? God. Who is there with me along the way? Family. Who did I represent? Those who have no voice. I'm going to shed light to this without taking too much time. There was a recent black and white selfie women empowerment social media that went viral, right? And guess what? Everybody conformed. Everybody basically said, absolutely, women empowering women, selfie, black and white, let's post it. But see, it took someone a little bit like me, and I don't say that anyone was wrong because people would just do what the trend is, to say how exactly, because I'm an action taker in the platforms of advocacy and humanitarianism and everything that I do within media and everything else in coaching, how does a black and white selfie of me empower a sister out there? What message am I sending by putting on, hey, let's just say something that's been filtered out there in social media? How am I empowering you, Seema? How am I empowering you? And Betty, right? Melissa, how am I empowering you? So guess what? It took but a minute or two to hit Google and say, what is this black and white selfie trend that's talking about women empowering women? And it was so just an eye-opener. Because somewhere along the way, someone decided to change the story. Because the black and white photo that surfaced, that became viral around the world, that was spread like in 5 million different ways, was nothing that has nothing to do about our personal selfies. It had everything to do about femicide, about the women in Turkey that were being murdered with no rights. And the black and white photos of the women that were being murdered surfaced as a representation to the outcry of the lack of women empowerment, let alone women rights in Turkey. So that's why the black and white photos started, because they're at the brink that their government, who sweeps these things under the rug with its passionate crimes, right, and they can't even justify their murders, culture would sweep it under the rug. And again, it's called femicide. Women were binding together to say, help us, this is outrage, this is outcry, we have no rights, anyone can kill us and it will just be forgotten, and the victims are blamed because of their lack of impurity or all these assumptions, right? That they have a very thin veil of human rights left, for example, right? And this was the symbolism, and somehow along the way it got lost in translation, and the world, the celebrities, all of us who did not dare take an even look at what that origination was, made it about ourselves empowering sisters, when it removed the very cause and very focus of the women that are suffering in Turkey. So absolutely, do your research. Just, and I'm going to say this in the best way I can. My mentor, Dr. Steve Maraboli, has this famous quote that says, be careful when following the masses, because the M could be silent. Right? It is funny, but if you look at it, it's like, are you a trend setter or are you a trend follower? So yes, be original, own who you are, praise God along the way, or whatever it is you believe in. Again, sticking to this, and just know inherently that you were created, you beautifully and wonderfully made, that you have the gifts that can answer either, in my case, the mustard seed that moved nations, right? Or even your next door neighbor, whether it's in the human trafficking component. It's a $152 billion industry with 40 million victims worldwide. Where's our voice in raising the modern day Holocaust, as I call it? Where's the voice in sisterhood? Because taking a beautiful picture of myself and putting it on social media is not going to cure the problem. But if I reach out to Ivy, to Fauza, to Dacha, or anybody in this platform, say, where can I add value? How do we collaborate, right? And so it's in all those things that I just practically delivered here. is how we make a difference, how we own it, how we own our gifts, knowing that we were born to be something much better than an average, but to do something great with our lives.
Thank you, Melody. I 100% agree with you. You know, social media is another chat for another day. I don't agree with some things that happens on social media. And like you said, it's not only about posting a black and white picture. I mean, some people were just doing it because it was a norm, it was a trend. They didn't actually know the story behind it. But yeah, very well insight on that. I mean, you know, there's so much we can do. Like you said, getting in contact with each other, helping out where we definitely can. I mean, you know, if we can all chip in wherever we can, I think we can make a bigger difference in posting a black and white picture on social media. And what do you think about that, Seema?
So I absolutely love everything that Melody has said. It kind of, you know, like I'm sitting here sort of thinking, what can I say now? But what I will contribute to what Melody has very, very beautifully portrayed is something that many women are not encouraged to do, and that is know your worth. Know your worth, because there is somebody out there less qualified than you doing a job that you want to be able to do, and that you could do with your eyes closed. So I think it's really important that you forever know your worth, and don't put your worth down to how you look on social media, on how you are perceived by other people. Whatever other people think of you is none of your business. You work on being the best version of yourself. Your competition is you. Speaking of social media, I'm on a bit of a journey myself at the moment where I'm trying to better my health. And something that I put on social media recently was a picture of myself 10 years ago. Now, I know that with my journey to bettering my health, I can't turn back the clock. But what I can bring back is that confidence that I had, that body confidence and inner confidence, both inner and outer confidence that I had. And that is what I'm working towards. It's great to be inspired by other women, but it's even greater to be inspired to be the better version of yourself. And at the same time, remember that anything that you do, you could be inspiring someone else. I say this to victims of domestic abuse all the time, that when you make a stance against domestic abuse, when you decide to walk out of an abusive relationship, you are paving the way for someone else to do the same. And that's why I always say that whenever you are speaking in a public setting to your friends, to your sisters, to your family, be a beacon of positivity so that you can continue to radiate and continue to spread good messages and positivity, and always encourage each other and others around you to be the best versions of themselves. Knowing your worth is the most important thing that you can do for yourself. Self-love is the most important thing that you can do for yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So nourish yourself, nourish your soul, nourish your mind, nourish your body so that you can give. And giving to others will replenish you. But you have to exercise self-love as well. And that means looking after yourself, looking after your own mental health, looking after your own physical health. So that to me is the epitome of knowing your worth, that if I need to say no to an engagement so that I can get an hour's walk in and clear my head, then that is what I will do, and I'll do it unapologetically. If I need to cut myself away from toxic individuals, then I will do so unapologetically. And also, let's not feel obliged to conform to other people's norms. Again, Melody, you and I must be some sort of soul sisters, because the whole black and white photo challenge thing, I did the same as you. I looked it up after I'd actually posted the picture, and actually your conversation reminded me that I need to go back to my post and put something new up, so that all these people who are being tagged in these black and white challenges understand what the real message behind that was. Be somebody who believes in knowledge. Be somebody who believes that knowledge is also power. And your power, your superpower, is just simply gaining that knowledge and interpreting it in a way that allows you to positively implement it and make a difference to others. So continue to know your worth, continue to grow, and continue to nourish yourself and others around you is what I would say to younger women out there.
Thank you, Seema. You know, I always believe if people don't put food on your plate, they shouldn't have a say in your life generally.
So true.
So just keep doing you. And like you said, know your worth. So on to our third question, and this is for Christine and Ivy. Christine, you are most welcome to go first. Your question is, what is one leadership lesson you have learned in your career?
Thank you, Dasha, for that question. Actually, if there is something that I would like to push is humility when you are a leader. Because I believe humility is something that you can carry through. And you don't need recognition because people will recognize you for your worth. You don't have to flaunt it, but you only have to do and to guide people, leave a legacy, make leaders out of others, because that is what they will value you for. So I will always espouse humility for leaders because I believe strongly that the more we give out, the more things will go your way. So I'd like to help people, to inspire them, to give them advices, and to show in what I'm doing what a leader is supposed to be. Because, you know, leaving others your legacy will always be something that will increase your self-worth.
Thank you, Christine. I also believe, you know, the more you give, the more you get, and you'll get in multifold. So I think we can all learn from you. Ivy, on to you.
Well, the most things that I can think of, the leadership lesson, is the ability to listen. And I think through my journey of leadership, to really listen deeply to the people that we are trying to help, to our team members, is the key of all things. If you remember my sharing earlier about leadership scarf, right? So the question is, what do you have your scarf? And the scarf is to be selflessness. And I think today this platform has given us all about, not about ourselves. Each one of us have given the power. And I think even though now it's midnight, I'm still feeling energetic because all of you. And to connect, right? And really how to connect is to listen. When I had the lesson from the university as well on advanced leadership, and they said that the key of leadership is not how much you know, it's actually how much the people they know. And by listening and switching off our second voice in our head is very important, because we, as a human being, we tend to judge. As most of us, when we are sharing, your head are also talking to you, right? So how to have that ability to listen attentively to finding out the needs of others is the critical point, which I think in leadership we need to have, and that will drive us as we go. And as what Melody mentioned about the black and white post, I also got it from my friends, and I was like, oh, what's the value of it, right? So likewise, they are not listening to what the actual message of the black and white post. Yeah, it's not just about posting your picture, turning it into black and white, and then you post to give support. Yeah. And I think by listening also will lessen the anxiety of a person, the less stress that you will get, because you're able to address the issue better. And I think for ladies around the world, please take care of our health. Health is the very important thing. Yeah, I think for ladies, when we are under stress, our hormone will go crazy, right? I don't know about you, but I think the lockdown has given my body a different scenario, and now we are going back to office is giving me a different scenario. So I think the hormone we need to take care. That means we always have to be happy, always have to talk to someone, yeah, no matter what we do, and not just by listening, it's also by finding out your mentor and talk to them. We need to find someone to talk to Without someone to talk to, we have no place to put our thoughts into. We can face a lot of challenges in life. And as what Dr. Lenore was mentioning, the glass ceiling of ladies in leadership, how many educators you will see as a chief executive who are ladies, right? Most of them are men. That's what I was fighting for, because I was thinking, it can't be just men who can thrive in the education industry. I think us as ladies always have the sixth sense. We are more passionate. And I think we would do a better job in educating the young children and the young leaders for our community, right? So listening plays a very important role. And I hope we all will go back and listen, not just to our community, but also importantly to our family members and our body. Back to you, Dakash.
Thank you, Ivy. Good communication is definitely key.
Yeah, you need to listen in order to communicate, right?
Yes, yes. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Prodigy Bureau, Love Charmaine, as well as Ladies of All Nations, Dr. Caroline Makaka, for having me as your host today. I think your passion speaks volumes in creating a platform like this for all of us, and we are indeed thankful. To our 7 lovely trailblazers, thank you for joining us today. I speak for everyone when I say we have surely taken away some inspiration from all of you. Keep striving, and we wish you all the very best on your future successes. To our beautiful audience, this wouldn't be possible without any of you, and we thank you for joining in today. Please make sure you follow Prodigy Bureau and Ladies of All Nations International on all social media platforms to stay informed about upcoming influential speakers. From myself, Daksha Ramjuan, all the way from South Africa, I thank you. Please stay safe. Love and light to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Daksha, for being an amazing host.
Thank you, Sham.
Or very
Thank you,
lovely and
Sham.
amazing hosting
Thanks,
tonight.
love. God bless you.
God bless. It was great to see everyone connect.
Thank you.
Sending you love.
Other,
Enjoy, everyone.
Bye-bye.
I will be sending